Akotevach, this is Gemara Nedarim Daf Lamid Beis. Apologies for the lateness of tonight's shir. B'siyata d'shmaya, everyone will be able to catch up. And of course, an exciting day in the world of Daf Yomi. As Baruch Hashem, we conclude the third parak of Nedarim. Says the Gemara on the bottom of Lamed Aleph Amid Beis, we're piggybacking off the din of the Mishnah. We spoke in the Mishnah about Bris Milah, and today the theme is going to be twofold. Bris Milah, Avram Avinu. Gishmak to have such a daf, the Siyata Dishmaya in the Parshas of Bereshis, as we really just finished reading, learning, learning about Avram Avinu. And today's daf is going to be a lot of the raid, we'll call it, a lot of the Torah of Avram Avinu, and as well Bris Milah, which we're going to preface that today's shir has been generously sponsored as a schos for all those in need of a bris milah. Not a bris milah, but all those in need of children. Anyone that is going through any difficulty of childbirth, fertility, etc. The learning of today's shir of the entire Chabura should be siyata d'shmaya, help everyone be able to make a bris milah of their own. And we pick it up on the bottom of Lamed Aleph and Beis, starting the Gemara, Tanya. Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha Gedayla Milah. Right away. How great is Milah? She'kol zechuyai she'asa Moshe Rabbeinu. The greatest Jew ever. Moshe Rabbeinu. All his chosim. Loi amdu loi shenitzrashel min hamilah. When he was nisrashel, when he was lazy, when he was weak, when he was delaying in a milah, nothing could help him at that moment. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Vayifkishu Hashem, Vayivakeshu Amisoi. And Hashem literally encountered him and sought to kill him. Amar Rebbe, says Rebbe Chas v'Shalom Shemash Rabbeinu. Nisrashel min hamilah, says Rebbe, slow down. This is Moshe Rabbeinu. You're going to tell me he was Nisrashel. You're going to tell me he delayed, he was tardy in Bris Milah. Can't be. 3 lines to the bottom. So what's pshat? Elakach Amar. Rather, this is what Moshe Rabbeinu. The reason he did not do the Bris Milah before he left Mitzrayim was why? He said, Emel ve'yitzei, what should I do? I should do, I should do the Bris Milah and Eliezer and immediately leave Mitzrayim. Sakana to travel with a baby right after a Bris. And Emar, as the Torah says, Yosef gave him. It was the 3rd day when they were in pain. This is when Shimon and Levi went and wiped out the city of Shechem, and we see that the 3rd day is the day of pain of a bris milah. So he said, I can't travel the baby at this stage. Emol ve'esha. What's the other option? I should do the bris milah and then wait shleish yamim and then wait 3 days and only then travel. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu Amar li, Hashem said to me, Lech shav Mitzrayim. Let's go. Let's get moving. Go and return to Mitzrayim. So Moshe Rabbeinu was stuck in a difficult place. So explains the Gemara, wasn't that he delayed. It's not why. And he wasn't punished for that. So says the Gemara, fine, we can understand what you're saying. But then if that is true, asks the Gemara, so why was Moshe Rabbeinu punished? If it's accurate to say that Moshe Rabbeinu did not delay, so then what's the reason that Moshe Rabbeinu was punished? As we're going to see the details of the punishment in a moment. So rather, says the Gemara, you know why? It wasn't the fact that he waited before he went on the journey. It wasn't that he delayed. It's because when he got to Mitzrayim, right away, he should have been dealing with the Bris Milah, and instead he was dealing with Maloin Techila, the dwelling, his lodging, Shenemar, Vahi, Baderech, Bamaloin. It was on the way, when he was in the Maloin, when he was in the inn, that's when Hashem came over and said that unfortunately he's Chayiv Misa. Rashbag Oimer, says Rashbag, another pshat in the 2nd line of Lamed Beis Amud Aleph, Loila Moshe Rabbeinu Bikesh. Satan Lahargai. The Satan did not want to kill Moshe Rabbeinu. Ella la'oisei tinik. But rather it was the child, who was Eliezer. Shenemar ki chasan damim atali. That you are a chasan damim of blood to me. Say Ray, go out and see. Mi kari chasan avi omer zeh tinik. So Rashbag says it wasn't Moshe Rabbeinu. He wasn't the one that was deserving the punishment. But rather it was the child himself. Darash Rav Yehuda Bar Bizna. B'shash and Israel Moshe Rabbeinu and Amila, at the moment Moshe was lazy, was delaying. Ba'u af v'chema, the attributes, the malachim of af and chema, of anger and wrath came. And they swallowed Moshe Rabbeinu. And the only part of Moshe that was left were his feet. Miyad, immediately, what's going on? This is his wife, Sipayra. Vatikach Sipayra Tzor, she takes a rock, she sees Moshe Rabbeinu being swallowed up. Vatichras is Arlas Binah, and she cuts off the Arla of her son, Miyad. Right away, Vayiraf Mimenu, it subsided, they released him. And Baisa Shah, Bikish Moshe Rabbeinu Lahargan. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to kill Af and Chema, Shtem Aharav Mimenu, Va'azayv Chema. As the pasuk says that there should be no more anger and no more wrath. And some say L'chema Harga, he did indeed. Moshe Rabbeinu was successful killing Chema, Shnemar Chema Ein Li. So says the Gemara, Moshe Rabbeinu was quite upset. I don't want to use the word upset, but Moshe Rabbeinu, due to the situation, wanted to kill Chema. V'aksev asked the Gemara, Ki Yaragu Mimnei Ha'afa Chema. But another pasuk says, Moshe Rabbeinu says he was afraid of Af and Chema. Answers the Gemara, Shrei Chema Havu, that even though we just said that Chema, so there were different types of Chema. Yibai Chema, Kunda de Chema was the legions, whose other malachim of Chema, wasn't this Chema, other malachim of Chema that still were around afterwards. Continues the Gemara, let's go back and let's learn about the Ma'ila, this wonderful and incredible mitzvah of Bris Milah. We're about 20 lines down. The first word line is Tanya, Lamid Beis Amid Aleph. Tanya Rabbi Amr Gdala Milah She'in L'cha, Misha Nesasik Mitzvahs Avram Avinu, there was no one that did mitzvahs like Avram Avinu, V'loi Nikra Tamim. And when did Avram Avinu receive the accolade of being a Tamim, being complete? Elo al shei milah shenemar hisalich lefanai. You should walk in front of you. Tell me to be complete. Uksev etin abrisi beini ubein chad davracha gedol milah sheshkula keneged kol hamitzvah yisheba Torah. Milah is incredible. It's equal to all the mitzvahs in the Torah. Of course, this harkens us back to Daf Tezvav when we said that the mitzvah of tzitzis is shakol shenemar, as the Baal says kial. That through these words, this would be the bris. And Davar Acher says the Gemara, another Pshat Kedela Milah, Shal Male Milah, Niskaimu Shemayim Va'aretz, the world itself, heavens and earth, would not exist if not for Milah. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Im Loi Barisi Yaimam Vechulu. So Milah, not either it's worth the whole world or it's worth all of the mitzvahs, all of 613. Upliga, says the Gemara, and this pshat is arguing on Rav Eliezer, Dam Rav Eliezer, Gedela Torah, Shenil Male Torah L'Niskayim Shmei Va'aretz. So Rav Eliezer says that the pasuk is not referring to Milah, it's referring to Torah. Shenemar Im Loi Brisi Yom Avalei L'Chuk Shemayim Va'aretz L'Isamti. Amr Rav Yudah Marav V'Shash Amr Like Kadosh Baruch Hu Avram Avinu Zalech Lefanai Ve'yet Tami. And at the moment that Hashem says to Avram Avinu, walk in front of me and you'll be complete, Achzasai Ra'ada. Avram Avinu started trembling. Amr, he said, Oy vey, Shem Yesh V'Davar Meguna. Maybe there's something that's inappropriate in me, and that's why only now Hashem wants to walk with me. Kimach Amr Lai V'Atin Abrisi V'Niu Beincha Niskayrai Taito. When Hashem revealed that He's going to give him this mitzvah of the bris, Avram was calmed down and realized that the only reason Hashem didn't walk with him was due to the bris. And he went outside. Stakalti b'mazal shali. Avram Avinu says, I looked at my mazal. I'm only going to have one son. And where am I going to have? Yitzchak Avinu Amar Lai. Say, Mastaginina Shalcha, go out of your astrology. Ein mazal li Yisrael. Such an important rule. Never despair. Ein Mazal li Yisrael. Anything could happen when it comes to Klal Yisrael. Amar Rav Yitzchak, 4 lines from the white lines. Kol ha'matim atzmai, HaKadosh Baruch Hu matim imai. Says Rav Yitzchak, anyone who is a matim, he himself is wholeheartedly, he himself doesn't try to see what's going to happen in the future. He's plain, he's simple, he goes with Hashem with b'tachayin. What happens? Hashem deals with him as such. Similarly, says Rav Yeshua, anyone who is this wholehearted person, the hour, literally is in a set to greatly shenemar, has alech lefanai v'yeh tamim uksev yisi lav hamoin goyim amar Rebbe kol hamenachish ein loy nachish. So Rebbe says the flip side. This is someone who's tamim, someone who's going with Hashem. He's not thinking about anything else. So says Rabbi, what's the flip side? The flip side is someone who tries to see the future. He's a menachesh. He's a sorcerer. Shenamar kilanachesh b'Yaakov. There's going to be no divine revelation to Yaakov. V'ha b'lamid aleph ksiv. Says Marvin Tabas is a lie mitar aleph, which means no. So how are you telling me the opposite? El misha mida kenegin mida. Rather, because the person is a leichesh, the person is trying to see the future. That's the reason why Hashem removes his hashkacha from him. Tini avu abreider abzir koladim sheina menachesh machnisa sai b'mechitza. Says Rav Zera, any person does not do this type of lichush, this type of looking into the future, what's going to happen, he's going to be entered into the mechitza of HaKadosh Baruch Hu shafilu ma'alachei asharis ein lechon nechanis b'soichim. The malachim can enter into this inner sanctum of Hashem. What's this inner sanctum of Hashem? This betachon, this going with Hashem with wholesomeness. Shenam riklo nachash b'Yaakov v'lokisim b'Yisrael. Amar Avavu, Amar Avalazar. Mipnei man nenesh Avram Avinu v'neshtavu bana l'mitzrayim me'sayim v'eser shanim. Why was Avram Avinu punished? That he went down and his children had to be subjugated to slavery in Egypt for 210 years. And Esha Asa in Garia Betalmud Chacham. Because Avram Avinu, he enlisted the help of Talmid Chachamim in his war against the 5 kings. Shem Rav Yarkes Chanachav Yelid Beisayu. Shmuel Avram Neisha Efer Zamidah Shel Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shmuel says no, that's not the reason. Not because he enforced Talmid Chacham to come to battle, but rather because he asked Hashem for confirmation. He was hifresh al midaisav shenemar, but ma'idak here shenu at some level of Avraham Avinu was slightly lacking his bitachon. For Rav Yochanan Amar 4 lines to the bottom, shifresh b'nei adam li'likanes tachas kanfei hashchina. Avram was punished because why? He even though he was the greatest Kirov master, but at some level he missed an opportunity to bring them under the tachas kanfei hashchina shenemar telling the anevesh v'archush kach lach. After the battle with the 4 kings, Avram Avinu, instead of saying, give me the prisoners of war, and therefore you wouldn't be able to convert them, he did not do such. V'yarik es chanichav yelid. Beiso, he continues the pasuk that he brought his men together for the battle. Rav Amar Sharikan b'Torah. What did he do? He took them away, so they were empty from Torah, because Avram Avinu took them from the base. Imagine Shalom Arak Sharika Bizav. Shmuel says, no, that's not Pshat, but rather he mobilized them with money, with gold. He paid them to come to battle. Shemana Asar Shalosh Meos continues the pasuk that Avram put together 318 men for this battle. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Ami bar Abba Lazar keneged kulam. It wasn't actually 318 men. It was a Lazar, his trusty Eved, that Eliezer, that was these 380 men. Eliezer, who the Chashbana Hachi. It was, the first shot is Eliezer was equal to all them. The second shot is it was actually Eliezer, because the Aleph Lamed Yod Ayin Zayin Reish is equal to 318. V'amar Rav Abba, Amar Rav Ami bar Abba, Ben Gimel Shanim Maker as Bayra, when Avram was 3 years old, that's when he found Hashem as Bayra Shenemar, as the pasuk says in the last line of the Bezam at Aleph. Ya Ekev Hasham Avram Mikoli Choshbana Meya V'Shivim who trained. It was 172 years when Avram Avinu knew Hashem, and he was nifter at 175. So obviously it was at age 3 that he found the Kodesh Baruch Hu. V'amar Rami bar Abba. Continues Rami bar Abba as we turn over to Lamed Beis, Amid Beis. Says Rami bar Abba, Satan b'choshbana tlas mei v'shitin v'arba. This word ha-satan is 364. What does that have to do with anything? The Gemara is commenting that the Satan has control over Klal Yisrael for how many days? 364. But there's 365 days in the year. Correct. On the 365th day, on the day of Yom Kippur, the Satan has no control over Klal Yisrael. Continues Rami bar Abba on the second line of the Beis. Rami bar Abba says Avram. It says Avram. It says Avraham. And he has the extra hey. Explains Rav Abba. Rami bar Abba, Originally Hashem made him rule over 243 limbs. Eventually he ruled over all 248 limbs of the body. Those who are learning Dir Shemish Tabura with us, we had this recently. How we add on the words Kel Melech Ne'aman or Hashem Lekechem Emes. to Kriya Shema, to bump it up from 245 to 248, as each word corresponds to one word of Shema. So similarly says the Gemara, Eluein Shtei Anayim Shtei Aznayim V'Roshei Gviyah. Avram Avinu got the extra hay, going from 243 to 248 in the schos of the 5 limbs of the body that he ruled over: eyes, ears, and his bris milah. And these are obviously the entities of the body which are usually not so much under a person's control, as those who heard our Erev Shabbos Devar Torah. This is what we spoke about, the medrash that says that your eyes and ears you don't control. And of course, we spoke then that the incredible Maila of Yitzchak Avinu was to give over and allow Hashem to run his life and not to feel like he was in control. But Avram Avinu got the hay when he had these 5 organs under control. Says now we go a little bit mashaldik. There was a small city, v'anashim, they were men, etc. So explains the Gemara. Our bodies are a small city. V'anashim ba ma'at. Our bodies are a small city, and the pasuk says, and there were not so many people. Elu Ivarim, these are the limbs of the body. Elu Malach Gadol, and the pasuk continues that a great king comes, the son of Isa, and surrounds him. Zeh Yetzer Hara, that refers to whom? That refers to the Yetzer Hara, as he tries to get a person to Aveira, Zubana Aleha. Continues the pasuk that he built upon it a mitzudim v'charamim, great sieges. What does that refer to? Elu oinois. That refers to this, the averos, avoinois, that person does. Umatzma ish miskein v'chacham. And there was found in the city a poor wise man, Yetzer Toiv. Umalad esayir, and he captures the city, b'chachmasai. With one's chachma, he captures the city, he takes over. Zutshuva ma'isiv toivim. The tshuva ma'isiv toivim enable a person to prevail even when he's in the middle of Aveiros. Adam lo zachar seish. The pasuk continues and concludes, and no one remember the man Hamasaki and Ahuda b'shasi yitzhara, lest the midkar leili yitzer toiv. An incredible and startling revelation, says the Gemara, that the moment that the yitzhara, when we're in that snare, when we're in that unfortunate makom on this sayon, the yitzer toiv unfortunately is often forgotten. Achachma ta'uz Lachacham me asara shalitim, says the pasuk that the wisdom is stronger than the 10 rulers. Hachacham ta'oz lachacham. What does that mean? Zutshuva umaisiv toivim me asara shalitim. It's more than the 10 rulers. What are the 10 rulers? So we're saying that chacham doing tshuva is even greater than the 10 rulers. What are those? Shtei inayim, shtei aznayim, shtei yadayim, shtei raglayim. V'roish hagvia upeh, and the makah bris milah, and the mouth are the 10 organs of the body. That tshuva, that chachma, are even greater than those. Amar Rav Zechariah Mishum Yishua Bikish HaKadosh Baruch Hu La'itzi Kahuna Hashem. And with this we conclude that, going back to Avram Avinu, that Hashem wanted to remove kahuna from shame. Shenam arvu kayin lekel elyon. But then what happened? Shame put and blessed Avram Avinu before he blessed the Kadosh Baruch Hu, showing at some level he was lacking. So therefore, Haitziahu me Avram. Therefore, the kahuna came from Avram Avinu instead. Shenamar Barachehu v'yemer Baruch Avram l'kalayim kanei shemayim v'aretz Baruch kalayin Amar lo Avram v'chibaktinim berachas ever leberachas kainai miyan nastu la'Avraham. So Avram got control. Shenamar Nam Hashem Nadaini Sheiv lemini ad ashes eivecha Hadoim l'raglecho basrei ksev nishba Hashem le'inachem ma'isa kayin la'ilam al dibarti al diburai shal malki al dibarti malki sadik. And the Gemara explains, what does this pasuk mean? Al diburai, due to the words of Malki Tzedek. 1 second, sorry, we can't see the last few words. There it is. Al diburai shal Malki Tzedek. It's due to the word of Malki Tzedek. V'hainu dersev, and that is the meaning of the pasuk. Who kayin le'elayon, that he's a kayin for all eternity. Who kayin, he is the kayin, he is the priest. Ve'ein zaroi kayin, but his offsprings are not. And there comes the confetti as we conclude this incredible perek. Hadron aloch arba nedarim. We must do a chazara of this incredible perek. Of course, there were quite difficult parts, nitty-gritty parts, but we learn always day by day, and we should do a chazara. Of course, with the chazara will give us incredible clarity. And b'siyata d'shmaya, in the next year, we'll pick it up from the 4th parak of Nedarim.